Welcome to the session. Today I am going to explain the principles of inheritance and variation. This is nothing but a continuation of the previous class, and this comes under the second PUC syllabus. In the last class, I dealt the definitions of certain terminologies and the Gregor John Mendel. And Gregor John Mendel, who is considered as the father of genetics, studied on pea plant. The pea plant, botanically called as Pisum sativum. He observed how many characters in that plant. He observed 36 pairs of contrasting characters, but selected only 7 pairs of the contrasting characters, what I explained in the previous class. Those 7 pairs of the contrasting characters are regarding height of the plant, and then shape of the pod, color of the pod, shape of the seed, color of the seed, flower color, and then flower position. These are the 7 pairs of the contrasting characters what he selected for his experiment. Why he selected the pea plant for his experiment? So there are some advantages in selecting the pea plant for his experiment. What are those advantageous characters? So let us study one by one. The pea plant exhibits several or multiple pairs of contrasting characters. Contrasting characters in the sense a single character is expressed in one or more forms. Say for example, regarding height of the plant in pea plant, one is tall and other is dwarf. Regarding seed shape, one is round or spherical and another is wrinkled. Regarding color, yellow, green, like that. That is the pair of contrasting characters. That means expression of a single character in 2 or more ways. That is the contrasting characters. And then plant breeds true. What do you mean by this the sentence? Plant breeds true means if at all the pea plant is subjected to self-pollination for several generations, it has the ability to retain what? The stable character or stable trait, even though self-pollination is carried out for several number of generations. That is said to be the true breeding, like we can say. And the pea plant has the ability to undergo both self and cross-pollination. The another advantage is it is an annual crop. It is a small climber, and then within 3 months you can get the yield. As it is a small climber, a small place is enough for it to grow. The another one is, as it is an annual and as it can be grown in a smaller place, thereby it can grow even in a kitchen garden or a small place what available in the surrounding ashram where he was working as a teacher, or in a kitchen garden it can be grown. As it is an annual, number of hybridization experiments can be carried out within a short period of time, and number of the generations can be obtained. Thereby it is helpful in studying more number of generations within a short period of time. All these are what? Advantages of selecting pea plant for its experiment. That's why Mendel was interested in selecting the pea plant for its genetical studies. Now, let us know his experiments. He conducted particularly 2 types of the experiments. One is the inheritance of one gene and then monohybrid class. And another one what you are going to study in future is the dihybrid cross or inheritance of the two gene like that. What is monohybrid cross? So monohybrid cross is nothing but a cross between the two individuals which differ in one pair of contrasting character. So monohybrid cross is a cross between two individuals differing in one pair of contrasting characters. That is the monohybrid cross. And the ratio what obtained is monohybrid ratio. The monohybrid ratio or any ratio what you are going to obtain at the end of the experiments can be expressed in two ways. One is the phenotypic ratio and another is genotypic ratio. You have already studied what is phenotype and genotype in the previous class. Phenotype is the external appearance of an individual and genotype is the genetic makeup or genetic constituent of an individual. So, this is the monohybrid cross. What plant he has selected for his experiment? He selected the pea plant with reference to what? Height of the plant. Height of the plant. Remember, in pea plant, he selected the height of the plant. That was the character he selected for his experiment. Regarding the height of the plant, the pea plant exhibit the both tallness and dwarfness. Remember, one variety is tall and another variety is dwarf. But these two characters come under a single trait by name height of the plant. So he selected height of the plant in a pea plant. One is tall and another is dwarf variety. So how the cross was made? The cross in the sense that is nothing but by transferring the pollen grains from the male part of a flower to the stigma of the female flower. That is the cross or pollination here. That is nothing but a type of cross pollination. Now, how this can be schematically represented? During the schematic representation, we have to follow certain formalities or the norms. Only according to that we have to represent the experiment schematically. First of all, we have to take what? The parents. The parents may be represented by the symbol. The symbol represents what? Male individual, and this symbol represents the female individual. These are supposed to be the Greek symbols. Then phenotype, that is the external appearance of an individual. How it appears externally. One is tall plant and another is dwarf plant. This mark indicates what? A cross or pollination here. Then for the tallness to be expressed, which are the factors that are responsible, that may be represented by genotype. Genotype is nothing but what? Genetic constituent or genetic makeup of an individual. So, for the expression of a single character or a para-character, there are two factors or a pair of factors which are responsible for the expression of the tallness or the dwarfness. As tall is supposed to be the dominant over the dwarf, tall plant genotypically is represented by capital letters and dwarf plant, which is recessive, is represented by small letters. Then the gametes. During gametic formation, the two factors controlling a character separate or assort independently and enter into one gamete. The gamete always contains what? Only one factor for a character, because during gametic formation, the factors for a character segregate. That is what is called law of segregation. Segregate or separate, and only one factor enter into each gamete. So this is the gamete of the tall plant, and this is the gamete of dwarf plant. Whenever these two fuse together, then it results in the formation of what? A tall plant. And this generation can be referred as what? F1 generation, first filial generation, Modalani Santati. And observe here the tall plant is what? Whether homozygous stalk or heterozygous stalk. Remember, this is homozygous stalk, this is homozygous dwarf, but this one is what? Heterozygous stalk. Whether there is a factor even for dwarfness or not, there is a factor for dwarfness, but it is what? Suppressed by what? A dominant factor, that is capital T for tallness. Hence, all the F1 plants obtained are tall, no dwarf at all. Later on, what he did was, he self-crossed the F1 individuals. All F1 individuals are what? Heterozygous stalk. So these F1 individuals or F1 tall plants are self-crossed. Observe here the same pattern it is written. It is the genetical, the norms, we have to write only like this. Parents, male, female. Phenotype, tall. Genotype, heterozygous tall. What obtained in the F1? The generation. And then, how many gametes you are going to get? As it is an heterozygous plant, it produces two types of the gametes for a character. One gamete contains capital T and another gamete contains the small t. Thereby here the two gametes are produced, two types, and here also two types of the gametes are produced. What plants you are going to get in the F2 generation? The F2 generation contains 3 tall and 1 dwarf. Only one is said to be the dwarf plant. All the other 3 are what? The tall plants. That means to say the tall and the dwarf are obtained in 3:1 ratio. So these 3 tall plants phenotypically what? Tall. And even the dwarf plant phenotypically only one is dwarf plant. Hence this can be referred as phenotypic ratio. But if you consider the genotypic ratio, observe here, one is homozygous tall. Only one is homozygous tall. And this one are heterozygous tall. How many heterozygous tall plants are there? 2. Hence 1:2. Then this is the dwarf plant. This is homozygous. Of course, the dwarf is always a homozygous plant because the dwarf character is the recessive character. Hence, it failed to express in the presence of what? The factor for the dominant character. Hence, the dwarf plant is always homozygous. Hence, the genotypic ratio is what? 1:2, 2:1. That is the genotypic ratio. Thereby, the phenotypic ratio in the monohybrid cross is 3:1, tall, dwarf. Whereas genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. That is the genotypic ratio. Now, how the law of segregation can be justified by conducting the experiments of monohybrid cross. Remember, what is law of segregation? Law of segregation states that the factors controlling a character separate in equal ratio during gametic formation. For example, These are said to be the factors controlling a character. These factors segregate or separate in equal ratio during gametic formation. Thereby one capital T enters into one gamete and another T enters into another gamete. That is the law of segregation. From year to year we can apply the law of segregation. How we can prove the law of segregation? By the results of what? The monohybrid cross. Observe in the F1 plant, what plant are not there? No dwarf plant. All F1 plants are what? Tall. But the dwarf plant is appeared in what? F2 generation. The appearance of the dwarf plant in F2 generation is due to what? The effect of law of segregation. If at all there is no law of segregation, even if two plants are what? All are supposed to be tall, no dwarf variety. But as the dwarf plant is appeared in the F2 generation, it is only due to the law of segregation. What the law of segregation states? It states that the factors controlling a character separate in equal ratio during what? Gametic formation. As a result of this, in the F2 generation, it is possible for us to observe the dwarf variety which was not found in what? The F1 generation. If at all the law of segregation is not operated there, naturally even F2 generation individuals all are what? Tall. No dwarf variety like that. That is how the law of segregation can be justified. Now, let us take up what is back cross and the test cross. Observe here, back cross can be defined as a cross between F1 individual with its either dominant parent, this is the dominant parent, or with its recessive parent, that is said to be the back cross. So back cross in the sense, a cross between F1 individual with either of its dominant parent or of its recessive parent, that is a back cross. Then what is the test cross? The test cross is a cross between F1 individual with its recessive parent, not with dominant parent. But anyhow we can say that test cross is one of the what? The back cross. But all back cross will not become what? Will not be the test cross. Test cross is a cross between F1 individual with its recessive parent. Why it is done? Why the test cross is done? It is done to know whether the F1 individual is homozygous or heterozygous for the given character. Now let us take up to understand the test cross with reference to the flower color in the pea plant. In pea plant, I hope you know that violet color flower is dominant over the white flower. So the violet color flower, the plant with violet flowers is dominant over what? The plant with white flower. For example, whenever the violet flowered plant, say for example this is the violet flowered plant, is crossed with what? White flowered plant. So the genetical norms are parents, that is male and female, and this is the phenotype. And what may be the genotype for the violet flower? So here it is. The flower color can be represented by the letter W. Violet is dominant over white, hence this can be represented by capital W, and this is represented by small w, that is recessive character. How many types of the gametes are produced here? Only one type, that is capital W. This is the one. Haploid condition. And here also one type. Whenever these two are diffused together, then you are going to get what? F1 plant, all with what? Violet flowers. This is the one. Now, this F1 violet flowered plant, this is male and female. Now I am conducting what? Test cross. This is to show what may be the F1 plant is. And this is actually what? A test cross. What is a test cross? A cross between F1 individual with its recessive parent. Now, which is the F1 plant? F1 plant phenotypically is what? Violet. And here, the female, that is its recessive parent. Recessive parent is white. Observe, this is the recessive parent, white. Genotypically, this is represented by capital W, small w, and this is small w like that. Now, what may be the gametes? Here, two types of gametes are produced. One is with capital W and another is with small w. Whereas here, only one type of gamete is formed. And whenever the capital W, that is this gamete, fuses with this one, what plant is formed? That is an heterozygous violet flowered plant. And this one, that is white, small w. And this is what? F2 generation. So violet and white is produced in what ratio? 1:1 ratio. So what this indicates or what it signifies? So this signifies that the F1 plant is what? Heterozygous plant for flower color, not homozygous. If at all it is an homozygous plant, then all F2 plants are what? Violet. No question of what? The white flowered plant. This clearly signifies that F1 individual is what? Heterozygous plant with violet flowers. Suppose it is supposed to be the homozygous, the plant with violet flower, then what may be the result? Observe this one. These are the gametes, and then what all the plants are? All are violet. All are with violet flowers. No question of what? The white flowered plant, which is a recessive character. Whenever a white flowered plant and the violet flowered plants are obtained in 1:1 ratio, this clearly signifies that the given F1 plant is what? Heterozygous plant, not a homozygous plant. That is the significance of the test cross. That means, what is a test cross? A cross between F1 plant or F1 individual with its recessive parent. Why it is done? It is done to know what? Whether the F1 individual is homozygous or heterozygous. Observe, the test cross signifies or indicates that F1 individual is heterozygous for the given character, that is the color of the flower. What is the color? That is violet and white. So this is about the test cross. With this, the monohybrid cross is completed. In the next class, I will take up the dihybrid cross. Thank you, one and all.